Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Matt, and today we're going to be looking at how to create cards for trading card games and the like in OpenOffice, Draw, and Spreadsheets. You can use the database function, however that is a little bit more finicky, so we're going to try and keep things as simple as possible today. Now, step one, and I know it's going to suck, but step one is to create your rules and have an understanding of what you want your cards to convey. There's no point in creating your cards before you know how they're going to interact with your game. If you know you have a bunch of monsters that are going to fight a bunch of other monsters, then you know that you're going to need things like health and damage, maybe special abilities, things like that. If they are special event cards, you know that they're going to have a name and then a bunch of text to tell you, what happens. Or maybe they're like Gloomhaven road and travel cards, in which case you want it to be two-sided, one side having the story text and the other side having the outcome. Get a good premise of what you want your cards to convey and it will make the next few steps much easier. If you don't and you have to keep going back, it will be a time slog and it will be a pain in the bottom. In this video, I am presuming that you are going to be using the Game Crafter as a way to produce and sell your games. If not, obviously skip this step. However, if you are using Game Crafter, step 2 is to come onto the Game Crafter website and find your templates. Now to do that, you're going to go to Make Games, Products, and then we're going to scroll down until we find Decks. And that's this one here. This image will change each time, so don't rely on the image. It says decks just there, and we're going to find whichever deck size you want to use. The standard format and the card type that I'm using is the Euro Poker deck. Now this will show you a bunch of information for if you are using Game Crafter, if you intend to sell on Game Crafter and things like that, like how much it will cost you for you to produce it and how much they can sell it for and things like that. Now, we can ignore all of the information on here. We just want the template. So pick whichever type you want. I just used the PNG. You're then going to save this template to wherever you want to save all of your board game or card game stuff. And then we move on to the next step. So before we move on to the next step, I will explain what we're looking at. So the grey area, as it says there, is the bleed zone. That's basically the very edges of your card. Don't put anything there that you don't want to be cut off. The red line is your trim line. That's where they're going to cut the card. Sometimes in production, cards get skewed a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and therefore that trim line might not be 100% accurate. Do not put anything important right up to that trim line. You don't want to do that because if it gets cut a bit skew-whiff, then some of your important information is going to be cut off. So the blue area is your safe zone, as it says there. That means that no matter where the card shifts, either left, right, up or down, because it's only a couple of millimeters, that area cannot possibly be interfered with. So you want to put all of your text, all of your images, everything like that into that area, and they won't be tampered with at all. So we are then going to move on to the next step, which is once you've opened your template in whichever imaging editing software you like. I use paint.net, but you can use GIMP or Photoshop or Critter or literally anything. So once you've opened your image in your favorite image editing software, you can then highlight this central blue safe zone area, and we're going to do Control C to copy it. Once you've copied it, click up here for your new page. Now, I'm not sure if this works in other imaging software, but I have to assume that it does. Once we've opened it, this information here is from our copy. So we can ignore pretty much all of it, apart from down here where it says our width and our height. We want to change this to centimeters, and we're going to use this information here. So we can just copy this. The next step is to open an OpenOffice Draw document. And we're going to go into Format, Page, and then we're going to get rid of all of our margins because we don't need those. We're then going to input that information we just got on the width and the height into these fields here. So it should be something roughly like that. It depends on how much of that safe zone you want to copy. Once this pops up, just say yes, because we're not printing this card directly, so that's fine. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to redesign our basic prototype card art into OpenOffice Draw, and then I can explain what's going on. So here we have my basic template made with all of the elements that I want on my card, including its cost, its name, its keywords and abilities, things like that. Now, to make this, I've simply used rectangles to create the colors that I want, the backgrounds and things like that, and then just placed more rectangles on top of those rectangles to create these white spaces for my information. If you want to send things to the back or to the front, this little button down here, click this, and then you can send things forward, bring them backwards, all of that to arrange it how you want it. Once we're happy with the design, and don't worry about these side bits where the circles here go out of the card, they'll be cut down, so don't worry about that. Once you're happy, we're going to go up to File, Export, find where you want to save it, and then I'm going to call this one Template. I would recommend you call it the card type and then template. For example, for the crew cards, I would call mine crew card template, and then for the instant cards, where the card design looks different, I would call that one instant template. We're then going to open up this save as type bar and go to PNG and just save that. That'll bring up this window here, but we can just click OK. And now we can see that everything's been cut how we like and the card is good to go. The next step, because I've completely forgotten which step we're on, but the next step is to open a brand new OpenOffice Draw document. Once we have this document, we can go to our first OpenOffice Draw document with our template, highlight everything, Control C, go back to our other one, and Control V. Make sure that our page is formatted to the same as the first one. So once our new card is all formatted properly, we're just going to click File, Save As, and we're going to save this one as our type of card. For example, I'm using the crew card deck here, so we're going to save it as the crew cards. Once we've got the fun of designing our cards out of the way, we get to do the most fun part. That's data entry, baby. So we're going to open an OpenOffice Calc doc, and we're going to enter all of the fields that we want on our card. So I'm going to do that boring task right now. Okay, so this is the dataset that I want to produce, and then it's just a case of data entry, filling in all of your ideas, including the names of your cards, their abilities, their costs, what they do, how much damage they do, everything like that, put into this document. Okay, so here's my first card. It is Captain Jeffrey, the one and only. And what we're going to do, once you've filled in a bunch of these, I would say maybe do 10, see how you're feeling, maybe do some more if you fancy it, or you can get back to doing the fun part. Now, I'm lucky I have 2 monitors, so I can put this on one monitor and have my drawer open in another. However, if you only have the one, it's going to be a lot of switching back and forth, I'm afraid. So we're going to open up our crew cards document, and we're going to put in all of the information that we just put into our dataset into this card. So although it's rushed, this is all of the information that I want on my card. Obviously, if this was your actual prototype card, you'd want to change the formats and the fonts and things like that to suit your fancy. Captain Jeffrey is a rare card, so I would probably change his background to be something fancier. However, again, for prototyping, it doesn't really matter. So that is how we take our card design and our card ideas, put them into our very own data set, and create all of the card artwork and detail and things on OpenOffice Draw. Once you've done that, you can then save it as a PNG, save pages of them, so you have like 9 cards on an A4 page, and then you can print them out and play with them. Once you've done that and you've play tested and you think, yep, that's cool, I want to do that, you can open up Game Crafter and actually make a game project where they will then produce these cards as an actual tangible item, which is really cool. Eventually we will get there with our game, but we're not there just yet. We're still at the prototyping phase, and please don't rush to get these cards produced and made, because it will cost you, especially if you don't live in the US, it will cost you a lot of money. However, I can't tell you what to do, so if you want to do that, go ahead. It's very cool to own components from a game you've made, I will admit. So that's everything for today's video, just a quick tutorial on how to get started if you don't have access to things like Component Studio. There's always a way to do it, and if you don't have a computer or you don't have access to these free products, just make it out of card, stock, and pens and pencils and all of that. If you have an idea and you want to get started with it, just go and do it. Get it started, get it done. Maybe upload videos if you have the capacity to do so, and I would love to check them out. So if you are making your own TCG or any board game, leave me a link in the comments, or leave me a comment saying that you're making one, and I'll come and check it out, because I think that's really cool and I really love this community and we should share the love. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have any comments, questions, queries or advice, leave it in the comments below and I will check out every single one and hopefully reply to them all. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.